What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to show you how to install Kali Linux using VirtualBox. So Kali is a Linux-based operating system from Offensive Security. It's a flavor of Debian and it's specifically made for penetration testing and ethical hacking. So if you're a Mr. Robot fan or you just want to start getting your feet wet in hacking and penetration testing and seeing how the system works and seeing different exploits you can do, Kali is going to be a great Linux distro for you to get so you can start practicing. Now this is all on the internet, so all I'm going to talk about is White Hat and show you how to install it. What you do from there, well, that's on you. But if you're interested in cybersecurity at all, I do highly recommend that you go ahead and get this and start learning about the different tools available. And with that, let's go ahead and kick this off. Alright, so I'm going to assume you already have VirtualBox installed. If you don't, just go Google it. It's very easy, very straightforward from Oracle. And also, this is being done on a Mac. The only real difference is that the user interface is going to be a little bit different. All the settings are actually going to be labeled the same. The only thing is it might be positioned a little bit differently if you're doing this from Windows. And the Kali Linux operating system is actually going to look the same. So before we actually start setting it up in VirtualBox, we need to download the ISO file. So what you're going to do is you're going to come to kali.org here, and we're going to go to downloads. And what I like to do is this one right here, Kali Linux 64-bit installer. There is a VirtualBox ready version, but I prefer to set it up myself the way I want it. So go ahead and just click on it and go ahead and start the download. And hey, if you don't mind showing me just a little bit of support real quick, go ahead and hit that like button down below. It costs you $0 and it shows YouTube that you like learning about this stuff and it helps me out a lot. Alright, so that download finished and I moved it here to my desktop. We're gonna go up in VirtualBox and go to new. And then we're gonna name this. So this is what's gonna show up here in VirtualBox. This isn't necessarily the name of the actual machine. So I'm just gonna call it Kali Linux. The machine folder, that's fine, I can store my machines there. Type is Linux, you can select here Windows, Linux, Solaris, Mac, whatever you're gonna virtualize, but of course this is Linux. And then it's gonna suggest this. We don't want this, and you're gonna see some tutorials out there that suggest use this. This is actually a version of Debian, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit this drop down, go to Debian. Again, we got the 64-bit ISO image, not the 32, so Debian 64-bit. That logo just looks a whole lot more sexy than the Linux one too. We're gonna continue. All right, memory size. So here we're virtualizing the actual RAM on this machine. So it's going to take the RAM out of the actual device that I'm using, the physical device, and allocate that amount towards this machine virtually. So this isn't too intense. I'm just going to give it 2 gigs, which is 2048 megs, and that should be plenty. We're going to create a virtual hard disk here. Again, we need to have all the same hardware that we'd have with an actual physical computer. So we need to virtualize a hard drive as well. We're going to create new now. We're going to do a VDI, which is a VirtualBox disk image. This is going to work just fine for us. We're going to dynamically allocate it. So we're going to build it dynamically up to a certain amount of storage instead of just building a hard drive of a certain size right out of the gate. That's going to allow us to predict how much room we're going to need, but not necessarily use that amount right out of the gate on our physical disk. Or drive. It was all disk when I first got in IT, whatever. All right, we're going to name that. This generic name is fine with me. And this is all really going to depend on what you're going to be doing with it. I'm going to list this at 20. That didn't give me, I want it flat. And then we're gonna hit create, and there it is. So this is not ready to run yet. There's a few other things we need to do. So with this selected, go up to your settings. So you hit settings in our general tab, our basic. We don't need to change anything there. I'm gonna go to our advanced clipboard and the drag and drop. I'm gonna actually give both those bi-directional. It's just gonna make it easy to operate between the two OSs if you need to. And the description, you can put something in here. This is my cool Kali machine. Disk encryption, you can do this for the purposes of this demonstration. We're not going to. My actual drive on the physical machine's encrypted. It should be fine. In the system, you see on the motherboard, so here's the items that are on that virtual motherboard. We see the memory, that's what we did set it up to in that initial setup. I'm gonna go and remove floppy, there's no need for that. And all this should be fine. Processor, I'm gonna dedicate 1 core, that's fine. Execution cap 100. You can limit this if you want to. Acceleration and nested paging, that's fine, I'm gonna leave that. In display, here's your video memory. I'm gonna boost that as high as I can. It's not gonna take up too many resources from the actual physical machine. Monitor count, I only have 1, we can leave all this. Audio, I don't want audio coming from this. I'm gonna go and disable that. Network, I'm just gonna keep it at NAT. You could do bridged. Again, this that's probably going to be a different video to go into the details of what you can do with the different network adapters. I'm just going to go with NAT. It's easy. It's out of the box going to work for you. For ports, there's nothing you really need to set up. For shared folder, nothing you really need to set up. You can set one up if you want to. But here's the big one, storage. Okay, so when we boot this, we need to actually have this point to the ISO file so it kicks off the installation of the operating system. So what you're going to do is below controller IDE is select this here, the empty one, just by clicking on it. And then over on the right hand side here, you're going to click this blue disk right here. This is kind of a stupid way they have it set up, but it is what it is. As you can see, I set it up before, but what you're going to do is choose a disk file. It's on my desktop, so I'll select the Kali Linux one, open it, and you see that places it in there. So it's just going to do that for you. Don't worry too much about what's going on here. Just confirm that you see that in that location. All right, that should be everything we need. We're going to hit OK. So we can see the settings got updated. You can see the updated video settings. You can see us pointing to that ISO file. And what you're going to do here, you can either click start or double click on your machine. I'm going to double click. And here it starts booting to the install. So you see it's kind of small, not much we can do with that right now. I'm just gonna hit enter for the graphical install. And I think they set up the interface pretty nicely for this. It's gonna be really easy. You're gonna select your language. Mine's English, I'll stick with that. I'm in the United States, I'm gonna stick with that. And my keyboard, American English, I will stick with that. Easy enough so far. Let it run through all its stuff and just wait for the next decision to be made. All right, and now we're gonna set the host name. Remember when I said earlier that when we were naming it, when we clicked new in VirtualBox, that wasn't the actual machine name. This is where we're gonna set that, of what the actual host name of this machine is. I'm gonna name mine my favorite machine name, Sup Dudes. And now we're gonna set up the domain name. I'm not gonna be using this for anything, so I'm just gonna put in fake.com. If you don't have any domain that you're gonna be setting up for this, you just put something fictitious in there, it's gonna be fine. All right, now we enter the full name for our user. That's gonna be me. Cool, Torres. I hit enter. My account name, I'm fine with Cole. That's an easy account name for me. And then I set my password. No peeking. All right, you set your password, and now you're gonna select your time zone. I'm in Eastern. All right, now we're setting up our partition. Just go through guided, use entire disk. It's only giving me one option, go to continue. And then I'm gonna do all files in one partition. You can separate this out if you want to, but I don't have a need for that right now. And then go ahead and select finish. And then I'll go ahead and accept those changes that I wanna make. And then it's gonna start installing the base system. So it's gonna go through a few things here, and then it's gonna give us some options of what we want installed. All right, next you can set up a proxy. I'm not gonna be doing that, so we're just gonna leave that blank. All right, and now we get to select what we want. We select the desktop environment and the collection of tools. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it at default. You can go with large and get all the tools. It's just gonna take a little longer to install. And I actually don't like the X-Face interface, so I'm gonna go with GNOME. That's just my personal preference. You can go look up online what each of these are gonna look like and pick which one you think you're gonna like most. You go ahead and continue, and it's gonna install all that software that you just selected. And now this part's gonna take a while, so let me make some shameless plugs. So if you look down in the description, you're gonna see some links. One is going to be to the merch store. We got some cool merch in there. I own the domain amazingyoutuber.com. So if you go to that website, you get to my YouTube channel. So one, you should hit like because that's so cool, and then two, you should subscribe because that's super cool as well. But if you want to take it a step further, in the merch store, you can get an amazingyoutuber.com t-shirt. Two, if you go down in the description, go find that Twitch. If you like gaming at all, or you want to talk with me live about any of this stuff, go ahead and hit that channel and hit follow so you can see when I go live. I like talking with my viewers about this kind of stuff so we can chat, you can ask questions, or you can tell me how bad I suck at the games I play. I love Rainbow Six Siege, I love Rocket League, I suck at both, so you can come ridicule me. And you can check out the Instagram, you can check out the Snapchat, you can check out the Twitter. I really don't post on those much, but if you want to send me a message, ask a question, tell me I'm ugly, you can do that there. Anyways, back to the install. Alright, and now it asks if we want to install the Grub bootloader. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to select it on our hard disk, and it's going to start finishing up the installation. And it says the installation is complete. Make sure to remove the installation media. It's going to do that for you automatically. Go ahead and click continue. And it's going to go ahead and reboot and boot us into the operating system. Go ahead and select Kali Linux. And there it starts loading up. I'm going to go ahead and bring this full screen. We got that nice dragon on the screen right now. I really like that logo actually. And here I am. I'm going to go select me. And there you go, we are now running Kali Linux. So it comes with Firefox, you got your terminal here, comes with Burp Suite, Cherry Tree is gonna be a text editor for you. You also have text editor. Metasploit's gonna have it on there, but you can just load it up automatically by MSF console in your terminal. And a lot of these tools, when you go through this, they're gonna be command line tools. So you don't necessarily have to go click on the icon. You can do it in the terminal. So when you see these different tools, read up on what they are and read the documentation on them. A lot of them you can load up in the terminal and you can start playing with. Go ahead and exit out of Metasploit. We'll go ahead and clear that. And there you go, you now have Kali Linux installed and you can start playing with it. You can go read the documentation, you can go look up tutorials on YouTube, you can do capture the flags like hack the box or try hack me that are gonna take you through different tools and different exploits that you can run with this. And you start learning. And when you wanna exit out of it, you're gonna hit your home key and F, or if you're on a Mac, you can come up here, just click the X. I select the power off the machine, I'll hit OK, and it shuts it down. All you have to do to boot it back up is double click here, click start, and you're all good to go. So now go ahead and go with that, play with it, start learning about penetration testing, start learning about ethical hacking, start learning about cybersecurity, and enjoy learning these new skills that you can develop with Kali Linux. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments or hit me up on any of these other platforms that I mentioned earlier and I can answer them for you. So that's gonna be it for today. I hope you liked this. Let me know down in the comments below if you were able to successfully install Kali Linux in VirtualBox. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. I do new videos every week and I'm sprinkling some more in there. Also go and check out my Twitch if you're into gaming at all or if you want to live chat with me. Another thing that's a big help is if you hit that like button, if you can share this with somebody you think is going to be interested. As always, leave me a comment about what you'd like me to talk about or what you'd like to learn about next. I'm Cole and I'll see you in the next one.